Gas and Energy Summit, and I know that you have a busy set of panels ahead of you, so I will try to keep to my 10-minute limit, although the clock has not started. Mozambique's natural gas reserves have the potential to electrify the country and the region, as well as finance government investments and outlays, education, health, rural infrastructure, that could lift millions of Mozambicans out of poverty and create thousands of jobs. Mozambique's resources and leadership in a just transition to clean energy will be crucial for our planet and indeed for the global economy. We cannot talk about energy extraction without talking about climate change. And Mozambique knows firsthand about the effects of climate change as one of the most vulnerable countries to climate-related disasters. All of you know that. It will take significant efforts by all countries, including the United States, to move to net zero carbon emissions. Earlier this month, on September 19th, world leaders in New York discussed our shared responsibility to address climate change, and including on that first day, President Nyusi, who mentioned the case of Mozambique. Due to its geographic vulnerability, the country, and I quote, suffers cyclically the devastating impact of natural disasters. And I would insert that that's why the African Union has named President Nyusi the champion for fighting natural disasters and its impact on African countries. During the largest cyclones, such as Idai, Kenneth, and Freddie, hundreds of lives were lost and highly costly damages were suffered to the tune of billions of dollars. And only a little bit of that has been recovered. The U.S. too has faced damaging hurricanes, high temperatures, and wildfires. President Biden, on the same day as President Nyusi, highlighted some of the actions that we are taking with partners around the globe to confront these climate challenges. From the first, and I quote from President Biden on September 19th, from the First Movers Coalition, which is mobilizing billions of private sector commitments to creating a market-driven demand for green products in carbon-intense industries like concrete, shipping, aviation, and trucking, to the Agriculture Innovation Climate Fund, a mission for climate, which is bringing farmers into the climate solution and making our food supply more resilient to climate shocks. And finally, the Global Methane Pledge, now endorsed by more than 150 countries, including Mozambique, which expands our focus beyond carbon emission targets to reduce potential greenhouse gases in our atmosphere by 30% in this decade. It's all within our capacity. An important part of the global energy transition to clean energy sources of power is the role of natural gas. It can act as a bridge fuel that enables countries to remove higher carbon intensity fuel from their energy mix and bring more renewable resources online. Natural gas is also a source of tremendous economic and development potential, and putting Mozambique in a position to contribute to the energy transition and benefit from it. I look forward to hearing from in session 6 today, which will cover exciting new efforts to carbon capture and storage and other responsible natural gas extraction technologies. The vast potential of the Vrooman Basin gas can generate, or has generated, $50 billion in proposed investments. This represents a unique opportunity for the private sector here today, some of whom spoke yesterday and some that are speaking today, and some that are outside exhibiting what they have to offer, and taking part in Mozambique's energy sector through trade and investment that will help drive the country's economic growth. U.S. companies have a long history of expertise in LNG and bring their knowledge and experience to Mozambique as well. Within the Vrooman Basin, the U.S. Export-Import Bank has made a $4.7 billion loan commitment to the Area 1 project. And in Area 4, the U.S. Development Finance Corporation, or DFC, has committed $1.5 billion in political risk insurance for the Vrooman LNG project consortium. Combined, these projects will produce over 30 million tons of LNG per year and 15 billion per year added to the Mozambican economy. That will contribute over the lifetime of the project tens of billions of dollars to government revenue and investments for future generations of Mozambicans. If gas is to drive development and prosperity for all, managing this revenue responsibly will be vital. One way is through a sovereign wealth fund, which the Mozambique government and now the National Assembly are currently legislating. Many countries, unfortunately, who have such natural resources have failed to utilize their energy revenues in a sustainable and transparent way. But a well-designed sovereign wealth fund could be the mechanism to turn Mozambique's natural gas wealth into a catalyst of development for all citizens. Imagine a national education or healthcare system as a reference for the region. Imagine record low unemployment rates among youth. Imagine infrastructure that supports commerce, agricultural trade, and travel throughout every corner of the country. And imagine every home with access to electricity for all, electricidad para todos, and running water. Imagine that the National Assembly mandates future investment or earmarks. I think the verb in Portuguese is alocar, in education and health, that will deliver tangible benefits for all Mozambique citizens. The United States is a key partner for Mozambique and is confident in such a future, and currently invests significantly in health, education, economic growth, and security, as well as humanitarian assistance. In northern Mozambique, we're both responding to humanitarian needs and supporting job creation, increased access to education, peace building, and other important programs that will help local communities to lead in their own development of a safer, more peaceful future. And just as an example, in a follow-up to what I said last year, USAID Director and myself laid the cornerstone with the Ministry of Education of a new secondary school, only the second in Pemba, that will train the next generation of engineers with support from private sector leaders like those of you in our audience today. We're supporting, I'm looking to Jos from ExxonMobil, but Total as well, and many others can help with this. We're also supporting a broad range of cultural programs in Cabo Delgado, including a basketball league, restoration of some of their sports projects and playing fields, as well as cultural centers in Cabo Delgado. And again, I invite all of you to consider efforts to inject hope into Cabo Delgado, and look forward to the panel that follows my speech today on the next generation of energy leaders. Mozambique is a country of not just outsized gas reserves, but ample, I would say robust sources and reserves of renewable energy, hydropower, solar energy, and wind, as President Nyusi himself said and described at the UN General Assembly. In addition to those renewable resources, Mozambique has the potential to develop a biofuels industry. The United States has a long history of successfully incorporating biofuels into its energy mix, and stands ready to assist and support the government of Mozambique and local companies in building a domestic biofuel industry here. Just last week, my team launched a workshop aimed at helping do just that. The United States government is committed to Mozambique's energy development. The Development Finance Corporation, which I mentioned, provided $200 million last year in financing the Tamale thermal power plant. And our Trade and Development Agency, USTDA, provided the American firm Electra for their Namasha wind project with a grant for a feasibility study for a wind project that could lead to an additional 120 megawatts wind farm that would generate as many as 700 jobs and provide much needed electricity to the region. USTDA also provided study grants to help develop solar projects in the provinces of Niassa, Nampula, Gaza, and Maputo. At the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit last December, the White House announced a U.S. Department of Energy proposal to work with Mozambique on a comprehensive assessment of opportunities to expand domestic energy access, to support the development and deployment of natural gas and clean and renewable energy, and add economic value to the production and processing of critical minerals. We recently launched a series of workshops virtually on these topics and look forward to delving deeper into these issues in in-person workshop early in 2024. Finally, and in closing, I want to reiterate that we stand ready to work on clean energy development that will help provide Africa with the tools it needs for an equitable energy transition for the future. An equitable, clean, and resilient energy future allows us to address the climate crisis both now and for future generations. Our focus, and my focus personally, is in strengthening local capacity, creating jobs in Africa, and working with our partners, the private sector and allies to promote economic development that is beneficial, sustainable, and inclusive over the long term. Thank you very much, and I look forward to listening to the next panel and being with you for part of this morning. Estamos juntos.